The state unemployment office has flagged $350 million in overpaid unemployment to 117,000 people since the pandemic began, Division of Employment Security officials said this week. That's a little less than 3% of the $12.6 billion in claims the state paid over that period. Most of the overpayments, about $258 million, were identified this year. About half of those went to people that the state says failed to submit documentation the federal government requires to get pandemic unemployment assistance. This PUA program is one of several boosts Congress added during the pandemic to increase payouts across the country. It helped people who ordinarily wouldn't qualify for unemployment benefits, including the self-employed and independent contractors. But PUA recipients who got overpayment letters in recent months told WRAL News they believe they sent the state everything asked for to prove eligibility. Now they're facing 4- and 5-figure collection demands from the state. Tyrus Caddo of LaGrange got a letter telling him to pay back more than $11,000. "I haven't the slightest idea what happened," Caddo said this week. "I sent all the documentation in that they needed." Taisha Council of Winterville got an overpayment letter for more than $2,700. She too said she sent DES what she was asked for. Altogether, WRAL heard in recent weeks from half a dozen people who got overpayment letters but felt they'd proven their case. "I don't see why I have to pay it back," Council said Wednesday. "It's frustrating." The Division of Employment Security, which is part of the state's executive branch under Governor Roy Cooper, has had glitches before, including with the federal notice requirement in this same PUA program. Earlier this year, DES told some people that a 90-day notice period passed after only 30 days. DES spokeswoman Carrie McComber said there's no such problem this time. Some claimants have been found ineligible because they submitted documentation for employment they had several years ago, McComber said in an email. This would not meet the requirement. The documentation must show proof that the claimant was employed/self-employed or planning commencement of employment at some point between the start of the previously completed tax year and the effective date of their PUA claim. There's no past income threshold to qualify for PUA, McComber said, but it's about the timing. It seems some people, who provided WRAL with screenshots showing they uploaded tax documents or pay stubs to DES system to prove past employment, submitted information from 2019 when they should have submitted information from 2020. They didn't ask for that, Caddo said. They just asked for the tax return prior to the pandemic. Caddo then voluntarily sent WRAL his 2020 tax return showing a small amount of income in addition to his unemployment payments last year. Council said that, not only was she told to upload information from 2019, a DES call center agent said she needed to see only the first 6 pages of that tax return. Later another agent said that wasn't enough, Council said. I sent in my stuff, Council said. She said, we didn't get all of it. And I said, I did what the lady told me to. She said, I'm sorry she told you that. We need the whole thing. Others who reached out to WRAL about PUA documentation said they were told to resubmit information they had submitted last year. Dozens of people have described similarly frustrating experiences with DES call agents over the 15 months, as the state unemployment office added hundreds of people to take calls about a complex and overworked system. Claimants reported hearing different stories from different agents and of speaking to agents who didn't know the answers to their questions. Most of that has calmed down, but the PUA documentation process seems to have injected at least some confusion. McComber said DES would look into individual cases, and WRAL forwarded names and basic complaints to the office this week. A 30-year payment plan, it can take years to recover overpayments, and McComber said DES is still actively recovering overpayments from programs that were available during the Great Recession. Caddo's overpayment letter lays out a $30 a month minimum payment, which would take more than 30 years to cover the $11,664 that the state says he owes. The letter says meeting that minimum wouldn't stop other collection efforts, including wage garnishment.